So too. Welcome, everybody. Today, I'm here with Starrstreams and Carl. Everybody give them a big 07 in chat. They were very, very kind enough to take a time out of their day to be here with us. So please give them all an 07 chat, 07 in chat for taking the time. Star, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Carl, how are you doing today?
Amazing.
I'm good. I'd ask, but he's just asked you, so there's no point.
So, where can they find you guys at? Star, go ahead and lead it off. Where can they find you at?
Oh, this is a self-plug, is it? Oh,
for sure.
YouTube.com/starstreams. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Yeah,
And Carl, where can they find you at, sir?
Well, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see my tag, and you can just click that, and it'll send you that way. So I'm feeling lazy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
otherwise, look up Carl Kaput on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find a lot of amazing lo-fi videos. So yeah. Carl, so
hello.
How did you all get started into YouTube? Was it the Star Citizen thing, or was it just you wanted to do YouTube?
So I got fed up with streaming, and it was just a case of that there's just not much discoverability on Twitch. So I was like, right, I'm going to step away from Twitch, come over to YouTube, make some videos, learn how to edit. And I just went from there. Like, I originally started off with Hell Let Loose, moved to Armor, did a little bit of Squad, and I just got bored of first-person shooters. And then Invictus last year, free fly event, gave it a try, just fell in love with the game like immediately, and rest is somewhat history.
All right. How about you, Star? I know you've been doing this for a long time. How'd you get into it?
Well, I started on Facebook gaming, exclusively on Facebook gaming with my daughter, who was sort of 5 at the time, and we were focusing on Roblox and Minecraft. And then one day she decided she didn't want to do that anymore, and I was like, okay, cool, fine. So then we had a break, and then I decided, actually, I miss it. I'm going to do it. So I switched over to YouTube, changed things up, started again, and yeah, that was a couple of years ago. So here I am now doing what I'm doing.
So you started with your daughter? Like how like did she ask you to do that, or was that just kind of like it just kind of fell into place?
It kind of just happened. What we ended up doing, because we were doing Roblox quite a lot, and she was like, oh, can we film this or record this? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I thought, well, if we might as well do live stream. So we did live stream, and then we had a whole load of people tuning in, and it just kind of went a bit crazy with loads of kind of Filipino kids watching us, and because that's the Facebook, that's kind of their Google into the internet. So we had loads of sort of Malaysian and Filipino people watching us. And then she did quite well. She was really, really good at hosting, and I'd just be obviously monitoring the chats and stuff like that. And yeah, then we just one day she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do it anymore. And I was like, that's fine. We'll stop. So we did, and that's it. But obviously, I still had all the equipment. So
to resist.
Yeah, now she wants to do it again. So I'm having to hold her back.
So since I got you talking right now, how long have you been playing Star Citizen?
For me personally, I came to Star Citizen in 3.13. So probably about, what's that, 2 years or something? 2 and a bit years, something along those lines.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. How about you, Carl? How long have you been playing?
Since Invictus last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you had been playing a lot longer than that. I'm actually surprised by that.
No, so I've always been a big fan of sci-fi, and I was playing a lot of Elite Dangerous well, I guess 6 months before that. I just got fed up with the Odyssey and how all that went, and I was just kind of missing my sci-fi fix.
To resist.
So, okay. So what got you attracted to Star Citizen, you guys?
Me?
Yeah, okay. Either one of you. Either one of you want to take that's I mean, it's kind of for both of you.
To resist.
So I was brought up on sci-fi. So it's just kind of like trying to realize all those little kind of fantasies growing up. It's just like, I want to do this, want to do that. Kind of hard to pinpoint one. Deep question. Very hard to answer that kind of thing. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So for me personally, I was blown away by Star Citizen because of the walking around and what it offered, certainly on a visual level. So I discovered it via Elite Dangerous, and the fact that you could walk in the ships and walk around the hangars and fly around was just mind blowing to me on a just a superficial level. So that's what initially hooked me in. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. For me, it was somebody slapping me in the face with their phone, showing me all these videos and pictures, and I kept saying nah, I'm good. And then the name Chris Roberts was brought up, and I'm like, why do I know that name? And they were like, Wing Commander, and all the '90s nostalgia came flying back with the X-wing and Wing Commander, and I was like, okay, I'm in. That's all we had to do.
It was a golden era. Like in that era, sort of late 90s, early 2000s, what a great era for space games. There was like several really good titles.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of them. There was a bunch of them. It was really good back then. I kind of wish we would get that. Here's a good question. Do you think Starfield will bring a resurgence of that kind of 90s, early 2000s era of space games?
Go on then, Carl. I know you're itching to talk about Starfield.
Ooh. I don't really know, because I didn't play a lot of those types of games, because I'm only in my 30s. So, like, the games that I would play were a bit more childish during the early 2000s and 90s. I think, like, the earliest memory I've got of playing a sci-fi type game was Star Wars Pod Racer.
That was a good one, though.
It was very difficult. I just wasn't very good at it. So now I kind of emulate that a little bit in my low flying, I guess.
How about you, Star? Do you think it's gonna bring about a resurgence to that era?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just going to be what the space genre needs is a kick. It needs an injection, and I think Starfield's going to bring that. And I'm really excited for it. I think, yes, it's single player, but rumor has it that the test runs and the preview copies have proven that it's running smoothly, and it's not multiplayer initially, so we don't have to worry about all of that. So yeah, the only thing I've got doubts on is the quest-like things where you have to go through and talk to people and it's text-based. I'm not a big fan of that, but the actual worlds itself, the actual universe itself and what you can do, especially the ship customization, sounds incredible. And I think what we're going to see, and I think Carl said this just off stream, is there is going to be a jump over to Star Citizen. People will play the Starfield game. They'll do single player and they will want to play with their friends. And Star Citizen offers that, at least initially, on a superficial level. And I think we'll see a huge surge of Star Citizen leaping alongside Starfield. I don't think it's going to take anything away from Star Citizen. I think it's going to boost it. So it's exciting.
Oh yeah, long term, it's definitely going to boost it. Like you're going to have so many people, as we're seeing right now, just being very interested in Starfield and playing it for maybe like a month or two, kind of weaning off because potentially, like, they're like, I want to do this with friends, and then start looking at other sci-fi games that are multiplayer or Starfield games that are multiplayer. And then coming across Star Citizen because the amount of press that it gets right now.
Long remembered.
I just worry that a lot of the negative stuff right now has kind of been weaned down a little bit by the time they actually start looking at Star Citizen, because that can just put people off. But the game's in development. It's going to be in development until like I'm dead. So we'll have to see what the public opinion is in about 100 years or. Well, I'm not going to be living that long, but
So we kind of brought up the negatives, and I really want to hear from Star on this one, and then we can hear from you next, Carl. But how do you feel about Star Citizen and 319 right now? 391.1. I got to get my technicalities here, but how are you guys feeling about this current patch?
I think you have to roll back before 3191. I don't think 3191 is a problem. I think the problem occurred after 317. And I think Star Citizen have definitely made quite a few mistakes since, I would say, 318 dropped. And I think it's alienated quite a few people. I mean, if you go onto Google Trends and you look up Star Citizen, in fact, I think it's a 7-year low on player base, active player base right now. So I don't think that's current patch problems. I think where that stems from is perhaps where people were locked out of their accounts and there was no response. Maybe it's from where 318 was such a rough ride, and it was a really rough ride at the beginning. The server instability issues continue to dog the productions. I feel like people are starting to have enough. I mean, myself included. I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed with CIG. And the problem is bigger than 3191. I don't think they're doing enough away from Arena Commander to keep people interested. Apart from salvage, I can't really think of anything to get excited about. I can't see anything on the horizon to get excited about. 320 doesn't really inspire me as a rock miner.
Yeah,
so I have to be critical at this point.
It's kind of like the Arena Commander patch. That's really what it seems to be focused about.
Yeah, 318 is the problem. That's the problem. We had a rough ride. People got locked out of their accounts. I don't know if you remember the waiting game. Everyone got put in queues, and then we had the whole entitlement issues, and then it was horrific. It was horrific, and I think that's hurt the game substantially. Do I think that's damaged the game long term? No, but they need to drop a good patch, and not just on Arena Commander. They need to come back to Star Citizen, and they need to do something interesting with it, because at the moment, what have we got really apart from salvage, which by the way is a little bit broken, I want to say at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Carl? Do you think 318 has been the bane of all of Star Citizen's problems from spring to this summer?
It's a really tough one because I didn't experience that many issues during 318 other than the first couple of days. What I think is going to be the problem is going forward into server meshing. I think that's when a lot of people are going to be like, I'm done with this game. Just because that's going to add on top of what persistence has added. So, yeah, it's really hard. So I think like a lot of the community just need to kind of accept, and then harsh as it is, that there's going to be issues for some time. Because I'm of the belief that CIG know that server meshing is going to bring in some issues, so they might be thinking, let's just fix the issues when we get server meshing implemented. Other than that, I don't really know, because I'm experiencing more issues now than I did in 318. Like guns aren't charging, or just they're not working. Weird kind of glitches with the terminals. But 99% of my time is spent running to a terminal in Grimhex, getting my ship, and then crashing on Daymar. So I have a very different experience compared to a lot of the other player base, the rest of the player base.
Okay, I mean, I can understand that. So, since we're talking about low flying, I don't do much low flying, so how does it relate into the current state of the game? And would you like to see? Is there improvements that you would like to see?
In terms of improvements, I think it's just linked to the server. Like, there's a bunch of desync issues, so like you'll be flying along and you'll just randomly blow up because there was a rock there that your game hasn't rendered, but the game knows, and there's like that. It's like your position is different to what the server's reporting your position to be, so that causes some problems. But I'd really like to see control services, and I've got no idea when we're actually going to see them. I think that will change low flying up massively, and you'll see a lot of the stunters. Now, I don't think that's going to be as easy to do as it is right now. So I'm kind of like, you can kind of see it with some of my gameplay, although I do take a bit of liberties that I'm trying to fly it as like a plane, but with thrusters plastered all over it. So I'm just kind of like trying to mitigate the change of the flight model. But the flight model right now is quite arcadey.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice for newer players once they kind of get the hang of it, but once you've kind of, I don't want to say master it, but once you've kind of reached pro level, it leaves you wanting for a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I've played some DCS. I don't have a huge amount of numbers in it, but I can see it kind of being like that, but with a bit more kind of liberties being able to be taken because you've got the thrusters rather than relying on aerodynamics.
Yeah, I hear DCS is great. I've never played it myself. Grumpy talks about it a lot.
It's a very difficult game, and there's a lot to learn. It's more than Tarkov. We were briefly talking about Tarkov before this, but there's so much. Like, it just takes so long to learn the planes, and a lot of people, I think, will make the mistake of just buying all the planes when really you're really best off just buying one plane, focusing on learning that, and then buying more as you go if you enjoy the game enough.
Gotcha. I mean, it sounds cool. I'd love to give it a shot, but not right now. Too many other things to do. Too many other things to do. Star, I know it's been a little while, but what's your perception of the state of rock mining in Star Citizen right now? You're like the expert, so hit me with it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I still like it. It's still fine. The blue screen panels are horrific, and I wish they would fix that. And it must be easy to fix. I wish they would just fix that. I also want to see, you know, a rare node appear that we can hunt. But apart from that, it is what it is. It is a chill game loop that I still enjoy and I'll still continue to do. But yeah, they don't seem that bothered by rock mining, gem mining, should I say. So yeah, that's sad. I'll continue the campaign. We've got a campaign going. We want like a bloodstone. I'll continue that campaign until the day I die and Star Citizen's released. But to be honest, yeah, I can't see it coming. I think they've got bigger fish to fry, to be honest, than some loser on YouTube demanding a bloodstone.
You seem to have a real good time that one stream I caught with you guys trying to do the Janelite rush.
Yeah, we were desperate to get there first. And that was the motivation. Like everyone was, and I knew Ollie 43 was looking, and I was like, no, I'm going to get there before Ollie 43, which we did, which is great. And a lot of people in his community pointed that out, which was great. Thank you very much, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But, yeah. That was good.
Do you think there should be any more like additional? I don't know what to say, but like complications to gem mining, similar to how there is with like current mining right now, where you have to kind of have different heads and different modules to crack the various rocks and resources.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you almost want to make it a skill-based game loop. You want to be able to learn how to do it. And I think that just brings a bit of expertise so that you can kind of teach other people. People can learn and develop and work out, how to do things in the most efficient way. At the moment, the game loop doesn't give you that. So anybody can pretty much pick it up and do it. And I mean, they might explode the rock one or two times, but beyond that, anybody can do it. It's very, very simple to do. I would definitely like to see multiple layers where things are harder to mine, risk to reward, should we say, where you pick the bigger, more unstable rocks. They could blow up, they could destroy your rock, which is kind of what they brought in. But it needs to be multi-layered if they're going to do that. We need more than 3 gems. We need like 7, 8, 9, 10 gems, and we need multiple lasers. And we want to be able to kit out the Grey Cat rock or the Rock DS to be able to customize that based on what you're facing. And I think then that could be really cool. The other thing I'd love to see, which will not happen, is the ability to carry spare parts for your rock in your transportation ship. so that if it blows, you can switch out the modules and get it running again, almost like being, you know, a mechanic as well. And that again will bring its own skill set and understanding on how the rock works and what you do to blow the rock. You know, you could destroy the cooler. I'll switch the cooler out, put a new cooler in, and you carry those parts with you. You know, and if you don't, then you've lost your rock. So these are all things they can bring in. You know, more gems, more variation on what you can do with the grey cat rock, and the switchable kind of assets of the rock as well. If they were to do those three things, then you've suddenly got a really, really complicated game loop, which is quite fun to do, you know. So yeah. Pimp my rock, exactly, pork chop. and you know, let's give us the opportunity while we're talking about it, and let's get really crazy. The ability to customize your rock visually, like paints, and design your own paint. That would be cool. You can design. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
That would be a lot of fun to. I mean, and not just rocks. I mean, ships and like the dragonflies and the noxes and everything. It would be really cool if we could do all that stuff. It's
a cash cow for them. Their focus is so much on ships. We've already got loads of ships. Focus on paints, custom paints. Let us design our own visuals on the ships that already exist. Every ship is then unique and different. I guarantee that people will spend money on ship designs 100% if it's skins or whatever, or paints, or you know, even if you've got like a Microsoft Paint package that you know, in a template, and you design it on that, and then you upload it and pay like whatever, $3 or whatever it is. They'll make more money doing that because it's not just, it doesn't just stop with one paint. People will have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paints on each ship, I'm sure, and they'll switch it out. And then just think about orgs. You can make all of your ships the same, kind of customize your ship, your fleet, so that it matches and stuff. They could make loads of money doing that. They don't need to keep bringing out new ships. But hey ho.
I kind of agree with that. There's a game called Warframe. I'm not sure if either of you guys have played it. The way they do their paints is like they have multiple color templates that you can choose from, and then each one is like, I forget how much they are, but I think they're like $8-10, something like that. And once you buy them, you have those completely unlocked, and you can mess around with your frame's paint scheme at will. And so once you have bought the 8 or 9 or 10 different packs of paint, you have all the paints unlocked, but you have at that point unlimited designs to choose from.
Yeah, I can see it being similar in Star Citizen, but you buy the pattern, so to speak, as like, so like you buy the skins that are in the store right now, but then you customize the colors on them. And I think it was Cameron that did a short video recently about it, and he was kind of showing up the hex code paints, and he basically just showed that off, and that's how we can see them working. I don't know if they'll do decals, because we just know that there's going to be some very NSFW designs being made within the first few days. Yeah.
Well, speaking of not safe for work, did you guys please tell me you saw what the outline of the Hull C looks like on the MFD?
Yes.
Yeah, that was wild. I looked at that and I was immediately taken back to Austin Powers and the radar scene.
I bet they've done that intentionally as well, just to get a like. I can't see that being final, but I can see them just putting out there just so it kind of, because they know leaks happen.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a bit of a morale boost. It would be even funnier if it isn't the final product, but I think it is just a bit of a morale boost.
I hope so. Carl, we'll start with you. Low flying is like your thing. Is there another profession that you would like to do, or that you would like to see added into the game that's not in the game currently?
Ooh. I guess player bounties, but you actually have to capture them, because I do kind of want to feel like I'm the Mandalorian sometimes. So that would be quite nice to have. Other than that, I'm pretty much a one-track mind when it comes to my gameplay. I'll just focus on one thing.
Okay. How about you, Star? Same question. Is there other game loops that you like to play? And if there isn't at this time, is there something that you would like to see added in, profession-wise or game loop-wise?
it's difficult because I'm such an industrialist that I'm always up for doing kind of industrial stuff rather than anything else. But I would, in terms of bringing a game loop in, you know, kind of treasure hunts and stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Something like that where, you know, you get, or Lucky Box, you know, you can buy a contract and we hear a rumor that there's a crash over here, go and check it out. And then sometimes it will pay good and sometimes it won't or whatever. Or you can just do like clues and secret, you know, treasure hunts, follow a map and stuff like that. But it's not very specific, so you could probably spend a couple of hours trying to look for it. I don't know. Also, farming. I think farming would be huge if they could do it, which we are miles away from right now. You know, if you could craft and crops and sell on a market, or if you could have your own hub and do your own kind of game loop from the hub, that would be awesome. But we're nowhere near that, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a dream right now, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd be definitely up for that. I'd be definitely up for like farming stuff and just having a plot of land somewhere and just, you know, avoiding pirates.
Well, you brought it up, Star. I mean, I'll ask Carl this same question too. But how do you feel specifically about pirating? Because I know you're the pro rock miner. How do you feel about the pirating?
At first, you see, I'm a PvEer, so I'm not a PvPer. So at first, I struggled with it a little bit. But as I've played Star Citizen more, and I've sort of moved into other games as well, like Daisy and stuff, I do appreciate PvP. I think there's a place for it if it's done right. By done right, I mean if they follow like a code of conduct or something, you know, where they almost role play it. I think there's a huge place for that, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. But if it's just like shooting with a missile from like 30,000 meters away, then it's not really fun for anyone, is it? But I've grown to like it, and I've found myself doing more PvP lately, which is I didn't think I'd ever do. So it's needed, and I'm pro PvP, to be honest, even though I'm an industrialist. But it keeps me on my toes. Like as a rock miner, I always carry a railgun on my back now. I'm always looking over my shoulder, and I think you need that. Yeah. And it wouldn't be as fun without the threat. You know what I mean? You need that threat. It gives another level, another layer to the game loop. So yeah, I'm pro. Ultimately, I'm pro PvP, even though I'm often probably the target of it.
I do like that stream when somebody pulled up over you and told you to hand over some money, and you just stepped out and shot him with your railgun. That was great. Yeah,
that happens with a railgun. And yeah, I had 2 ships fly over the top of my rock, and I missed it. I wasn't paying attention, and they set, before I knew it, they were above me, one to the side, one above me, and I'd had the railgun on my back, and I just stepped out, and I literally just went boom. He blew up in front of me. It was amazing. Loved it.
That was a good one. That was a good one. How about you, Carl? I know you're the low flyer of the group, but how do you feel about the pirating? Because it always seems like they're the big bad boogeyman that's hiding behind every rock on a moon and every asteroid in the verse, and I almost never see them really. But how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm really glad that Star has brought up the RP aspect, because piracy, it is what it is. Like, I think it's in a pretty good place right now, but the low-fly org that I'm in will actually RP as not a lo-fi org, but a cult that believes that Daymar is a sentient entity and that the rock should stay on Daymar. And this is why we low-fly, because Daymar, or Lady Daymar, demands blood and sacrifice. So we low-fly to keep her happy, but then if we see a ship that's capable of carrying a rock mine, or even just a rock miner, we just blow it up and then go on our way. And I think this is like an aspect that a lot of people don't really look at, because a lot of the so-called griefers will just RP, but without really realizing that they RP. It's kind of in a weird spot right now where RP kind of gets thrown in together with LARPing, but it's really just the same thing, really. So yeah, it's a tough one to really kind of talk about. But going back to Pirates specifically, I think it is in a good spot because we've got the soft F, which is a bit frustrating as a low flyer when you just clip a rock and then you're just dead on the floor, well, not even dead on the floor, you just sat there. It's like, oh, just backspace, because all we wear is a hospital gown anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not losing anything. The way the insurance is, it doesn't really exist, so we just claim another ship. Like, a lot of us will have 2 of the same ship, just so we can just run out of Grim, go to terminals, grab another ship, claim the other one, run back out again.
Gotcha. So you are the guys leaving all those medical gowns laying around Daymar, huh?
No. So this is also against the religion that we must hold on to all of the hospital gowns.
Oh,
We don't get rid of them at all. It's everyone else that does.
Alrighty. Let's see, where am I at? You guys pretty much answered that one.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We kind of went over this. We all know 320 is the AC patch. Is there anything that either of you two are hoping, like realistically, not fantasy here? Is there anything realistically you're hoping that maybe last minute they add in, or anything along that lines, like whether it's a gameplay loop or anything really?
Server stability. I hope they boost that because it's not great right now for me. Yeah, server stability. I'd like to see an improvement there, definitely.
How about you, Carl? Anything to add to that?
No, it's the same question, the same answer, really. And I think a lot of people, if we had more stable servers, would be able to put up with a lot of the issues that's going on right now. Because at least then people would be able to do their missions and gameplay loops how they want to. They can then finish at the end of the day being, that was a really good session. I got made a load of money, or made some, lose some. I just think that's the biggest hurdle that we're having right now. And it's not like Arena Commander, because it's pretty much only the sweaty PvP lords that play Arena Commander.
Yeah.
Other than the few people, or most people, who want to get the Pirate Gladius, the Pirate Caterpillar, and the Glaive, it's service stability. I think that should be their biggest priority right now. I think that's losing them a lot of money, the fact that it's not stable as well. So
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been getting, other than the desync, because I mean, that is part of server stability. But my 2 biggest complaints right now is I've seen a drastic uptick in 30Ks as of late, and I don't know what would be causing that other than back to 318 and PES and all of that. And then the other thing that I've been getting a lot of is crash to desktop. And I'm not crashing to desktop while I'm playing the game. It seems, I'd say every other play session I fire up, I crash to desktop as I'm loading into the main menu or loading out of the main menu into the universe. It, boom, crash to desktop. Like every other time I play, it's quite annoying. Quite annoying.
yeah.
Difficult to do content as well as a content creator because everything takes so much time.
Marcus, I think Marcus is in here, but Marcus, when he kind of coined this phrase while I've been watching him stream and stuff, that Chris Roberts and Star Citizen always know when you're trying to do something to make content, and the worst things that Star Citizen has to offer comes out. Seems like it is all the time. I guess since we're on it, do you think that the desync has really affected your guys' particular game styles? We'll go Star on that one.
The only impact I can think on the desyncs is definitely the sometimes with the nodes, when you mine the nodes, they don't react. Apart from that, that's the only issue I have. The main issue, apart from the 30Ks and the instability of the installer itself. So no, I don't really get too much issue with it. I'm sure Cole probably does as a low flyer though.
Oh, I'm sure. Carl, how about you? How's the desync affect you in your low flying?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier, but yeah, it is an issue, but it's also not an issue. Now, like if you're constantly like flying as low to the ground as possible, if that's the type of low flyer you are, it's going to be more of an issue anyway. Now, I've gotten to the point where I'll just fly it slightly over the rocks because it's not just been like one or two rocks that would just spawn in right before you're about to hit them. It'll be the entire like rock field, and they'll just appear. And but when it really comes down to it, my bigger concern with it is everyone else's like issues with desync. Like if I have to get a bit of money because all I do is low fly, so I just need money to rarely repair or expedite my ships if I've forgotten to claim my other one. I just need a bit of money just to be able to make that happen. And I'll do a bit of combat, and a lot of your hits just won't register, or an asteroid is invisible, and this is just frustrating. So for people that are doing the combat or anything that revolves around like what Star was saying, like dealing with rocks in general in both forms, it's going to be a bit more of an issue than it would be for me, because like I can easily just fly a little bit higher and avoid all those random respawn or random spawning ends. But other people, it will affect more. Now, I've heard bunkers are bad as well. Now that I look at Porkchop's message,
Bunkers.
yeah, I don't even.
Bunkers are
Sorry.
Bunkers are really bad. They're either, they'll be in front of you 1 second and then they're 50 feet off to the, another room or even behind you sometimes. Other times you'll drop an entire mag, and I don't mean like the AR mags where you get 30 rounds. I mean an entire FS9 mag into one of them, and they just stand there like it's tickling them. Other times you get where they don't spawn in the spawn closet, they spawn like beneath the bunker, so now you can't complete your mission. There's all kinds of crap going on down there, and it's bad because I like bunker running. I like to shoot at bad guys and then collect loot out of the red boxes. That's what I'm a big fan of. So
yeah, I used to do a lot of bunkers, but now because like that issue's happening, I don't even touch them anymore. The only time I'll even touch a bunker, and I don't even think it's a thing now, is SPK. If my friends want to do SPK, it's a similar kind of issue because you've got the NPCs there. But other than that, I can easily mitigate it, but it's more the concern for other people.
For sure. So this is pretty much for Starstream since he's been here the longest. I've only been here a year. Community morale seems to be in the tanks right now. Is this normal for this time of year in Star Citizen, or is this just everything compounding right now?
I'd say it's relatively normal. Star Citizen has peaks and troughs. I think it goes through stages of being really popular and then it drops off and then it will come back up again. And you can see that if you look at something like Google Trends, where it kind of does this, and a lot of the content creators report their views are kind of doing this as well alongside it. However, it is at an all-time low in terms of morale. I think there's certain groups that are anti-Star Citizen that have gained a bit of traction recently as well. So this all kind of feeds in with where we're at. And I think Starfield will, at least initially, probably sink it a little bit lower, but then it will pick up again at some point. I'm absolutely confident of that. But yeah, 318 was an absolute disaster for CIG. And I think that's going to be reflected in CitizenCon and the popularity that's going to have. It already is reflected on Google Trends, and you can see it visually in terms of the bar graphs. And it's their own doing. I mean, I honestly, the whole saga around this first wave, second wave thing, changing the prices, tweaking around and messing about with prices and delaying and rehashing the roadmap, which had to be done but wasn't done in a particularly good way. it all just feeds in. It's like the perfect storm, and what you're seeing now is a complete drop off of player base, and it is a complete drop off of the player base, lowest, like I said, in 7 years. It will come back up and it will resolve itself, and people will play Starfield. They'll do the campaign, single player campaign. They'll yearn to do something else alongside it, probably with friends, and they'll come and they'll see Star Citizen, because Elite Dangerous isn't going to satisfy that itch. It's going to be Star Citizen. So if I was CIG right now, I'd go for complete transparency, and I would whack a free fly event maybe a month after Starfield's launch, and make sure that you've got the stability to back it up, because then you're going to see a flow from Starfield into Star Citizen. I think that's the way they can recover it. So transparency, don't mess about with roadmaps and stuff. Don't keep changing direction. Be honest, be open. Get stability in there, and drop a free fly event a month into the Starfield. Beginning of maybe, where are we now? August. Beginning of October, do a free fly event and keep it going for a couple of weeks. I think that's the only way they'll get it back now.
This one, I'll ask both of you guys this, but Carl, let's start with you. CitizenCon, you excited for it?
Couldn't care less, to be honest. I'd rather have more regular news and updates than a big convention once a year where they're withholding the information from leading up to months before it. And it's like, yeah, it's there to generate some excitement, but one event, I'd rather have more regular updates about stuff. Like, fair enough if the game was released and you could then kind of like compare it to like whatever, was it Star Wars Celebration? Like you'll have people like cosplaying and stuff. Like, I think it would be more appropriate once we do get a full game and a bit more kind of, especially with Squadron, when if that ever comes out, because then you'll have people cosplaying and stuff as, like, I'm not a cosplayer, but if you want to do it, you want to do it. But you'll have them people like trying to dress up as Mark Hamill, and like you'll have some idiots as well running around in hospital gowns, which would be absolutely hilarious.
That would be.
But for now, I don't think it has a place.
Okay. Same question
It's
to you.
such a missed opportunity, because everybody should be really excited for CitizenCon. I'm personally, I couldn't care less right now, and I have no interest in it whatsoever. But I think it could be a really big deal if they handled it the right way, and they, I don't know how you would do that, but for me, it doesn't. I'm not really going to get anything from it personally in terms of knowledge. You'll get to meet a few people and talk panels, but what they say and what happens, do they coexist? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're lying or anything like that, because obviously that they have good intentions. But what they say in a CitizenCon isn't necessarily going to translate into what actually happens further down the road, and because of that, I'm out. But the good thing about those things is it's a great opportunity to meet other people, and it's a great opportunity to have some fun. In terms, I love the idea with the robes. That's a great idea, and they have a great opportunity to like do special events and sort of sell discounted ship, like absolute discount ships. Thank you for coming to CitizenCon. Here's 50% off this particular ship if you come to CitizenCon. Give people a reason to go there. I don't know. It just feels, it's not entertaining, because it's just going to be 4 people or 3 people sat on a seat on a stage with a spreadsheet talking about a JPEG that we might get in 3 years' time. I don't care. Where's the bar? Where's the bar? That's how and I can go to a bar down the road. I don't need to go to Los Angeles to go to a bar. There's a bar over there. So, but it should be, like you say, if you go to a Star Trek convention or a Star Wars convention or Comic Con or whatever, it's nothing like that. It's exciting. It's like a chance to kind of dress up and they need to be building up those characters and the lore and getting people kind of invested in the history and the factions and stuff like that, building that side up, because they haven't done a lot of that at the moment. And I know you've got people like Astropub and that who are trying to get that going. But you know, everybody should have their favorite faction. It's like if someone says to me, who you know, what's your favorite planet? I'm like, well, they're all much over much, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, Hearst and Microtech, well, I don't know, maybe. I like the outfits, the security guards that Microtech wear, and so it's my favorite, but I couldn't tell you about the lore. I don't really care. So they've got to look at that, and they've got to bring some genuine lore to the game, because that's what's going to drive the game. People love that stuff, the backstories and being able to relate to the characters. I can't relate to any of the characters in Star Citizen, to be honest. If you can relate to them, and it's no good bringing like Mark Hamill or whatever to do voices and then just whack it on Arena Commander or whatever, or Squadron 42. Like get him to voice a character that crosses over amongst everything, but it's a specific character that is something you can grab hold of and go, this is a really cool character. You know, I'm excited. But Squadron 42 to me is just Star Citizen in single player with some campaigns. It doesn't make any sense. There's no excitement there for me. But I know that other people are excited, and you know, that's great. Good for them. I'm happy with that. But for me, I can't get excited. I'd love to, though.
Have any of you guys gone to a Comic-Con at all, ever?
No, it's too expensive.
I mean, I've been to a few conventions. I've been to a sci-fi convention that I loved. I've been to Red Dwarf. I don't know if you guys know Red Dwarf. Went to a convention on Red Dwarf, and these people absolutely like love. It's so character driven. Like everybody dresses up in their favorite character. They all have their favorite certain episodes or whatever. You got to recreate that. You got to get a buzz going, and there's no buzz. Where's the buzz?
Yeah.
There's more buzz with Starfield right now than there is with Star Citizen, because they just say Star Citizen. Where's the gameplay really? Because yeah, if you're an industrial person, you've got salvage, which is kind of meh. I'll be honest, it's kind of meh. And then you've got rock mining, which is good. Is actually quite good. But then all other types of rock mining, they keep changing the landscape with ore mining, which has put a lot of people off. And they have made improvements, to be fair, on that side, but they keep changing the goalposts, which is not cool. And then you look at the other game loops and you think, okay, well, what else do we got? We've got, pyro tools to do hand mining. I mean, that is the biggest waste of time that you can ever do. I mean, it's punishment. You go and mine with a hand mine to get out of jail. That's punishment. It's not fun. It's not a fun game loop. Like the Janelite thing, they tried to address it, but then it's so rare that you're never going to find it. And even if you do find it, it's only going to be worth like 20 grand or whatever anyway. So like, I don't think they really know what they're doing. Like, I don't think they really listen to what people are saying. I've been talking about rock mining for a long time and how they can improve the game loop. They won't ever listen to somebody like me. But I think they're quite stubborn as well. I think they'll look at Spectrum and they'll just ignore it, or they'll ban you. They'll either ignore you or they'll ban you, and then, or probably both. And then I think the people that are actually supporting the game and trying to drive the game forward, the people that are doing, getting new people in, are the ones that are being, should we say, pooped on more than most. And that's why you get people like, don't even get me started about Jack Axton's recent ban, because that was disgusting.
That was terrible.
And it's not cool. That's not how you treat people. So I don't know. I think they're making a lot of wrong decisions. I think 318 was dreadful. I think the stability issue is stopping me from enjoying the game. And CitizenCon, I don't even know what date it's at. What date is it? I have no idea. I'm probably washing my hair that day.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No,
I have
no one really cares.
I have so little interest in it. I haven't even paid attention to it. I really haven't. And I'd like to touch on the convention stuff. If nobody in chat here has ever been to a convention of any kind, whether it be sci-fi, comic book, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever you're into, the cool thing about these conventions is everybody is either dressed up as their favorite character or just excited to meet other people that are into the same things that they're into. And yes, the Comic Cons do panels and whatnot, but those panels are more or less a chance for you to see either writers, artists, or if they're doing TV show and movie cast stuff that you're not going to see anywhere else other than at that specific convention. And for me, once again, this is going to be my second CitizenCon. I watched the first one intently, and I'm not going to lie, I'm so glad I didn't stream that, because I would have been like that in my seat the whole time. I would have been sleeping in my seat the whole time.
Guys, you saw it, right? You all sat down live and on Twitch or whatever, and you watched that CitizenCon, right? It was the most boring thing. I just switched off within an hour.
Yeah.
CitizenCon for me is just an info dump of Star Citizen Live in 1 or 2 days. That's all it is. And they big it up, and they make you pay hundreds of dollars just to go over there, because like obviously you got flights, hotels, all that, and it's like just sit at home, watch it on Twitch or whatever. Show CIG that like we don't want CitizenCon in that format. We want something different, and I think that's when it might actually start. Like, I know there was controversy as well because they upped the price of the tickets by 150% just for one extra day. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And they wonder why people called it Scam Citizen. Like,
and here's the other thing. I know both of you are from the other side of the pond. Most Americans don't want to go to LA. It's dirty, it's gross, it's dangerous, and it's one of the most expensive cities in the United States. Why would we want to go there? We don't. I mean, I know plenty of Americans that are far more optimistic about Star Citizen than I am, and I bring up CitizenCon, and they're like, nope, no, I didn't even look at tickets because I'm not going to LA. I'm not doing it. LA is terrible. Okay. Fair enough.
Honestly, they'll get people going, obviously, because it's CitizenCon and people will want to go to out of morbid curiosity more than anything else. But I might just dress as a Grey Cat Rock or something if I went, or because there's nothing else I can think of that I would do. Like, just bring some fun to it, make it exciting. But you know what's going to happen? We're going to have loads of splash screens. We're going to have loads of PowerPoint presentations, loads of 10-year predictions that don't come true, and then you're going to have Ford is always developers. They'll bring developers on. This guy made the clouds in Orison. And you're like, fantastic. That's going to be an hour talking about clouds in Orison. No one really gives a crap, quite honestly. But we're here because we're dressed up in our Grey Cat Rock in San Francisco, wherever the hell we are, Los Angeles, talking about clouds in Orison. It's like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? I don't want to pay money to go and talk about clouds in Orison. I don't care. What I want to see is like actual genuine game loops being developed. And I don't care about new ships. I genuinely don't. We've got plenty of ships. I've got my personal favorite, the Valk, by the way. I don't really care. I just want to see them start beefing out the gameplay. It's when you think about it that, we beat Elite Dangerous up about being this kind of shallow, wide gameplay. Star Citizen's the same. We've still got one system with 4 planets.
Yeah, Marcus.
And if you just think about that, Freelancer, like literally Freelancer is like a 25-year-old game and has multiple systems. Like it blows my mind that they can't do it. Like they can't roll out a second system. It just blows my mind. Okay. And that's what's making me very concerned right now.
I think it's more of a case of like it's not so much as they can't, it's just that they won't. And I think a lot of people just wouldn't care about server meshing if we just got Pyro. It's like, okay, you're bringing server meshing, okay, let's still give us Pyro. But then you'll be like, well, what about the player count? But they did a test with 200 people in. So, like, that would be 100 per system. It wouldn't be at first, but over time it would be. So it wouldn't really feel the way it is now. It would just feel like the way it is now, which is just pretty empty anyway. And
what's the first thing you do? Because Star Citizen's so unstable, you turn off volcanic clouds. So all of that fancy work they've done, you're switching it off anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
What the hell,
Yeah.
man? Come on.
yeah.
Come
The
on.
majority of people can't even play with clouds on.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
I-
sure it looks great.
Oh, it does. It does.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
it's-
very aware that we're being potentially overly critical of Star Citizen, and that wasn't actually the intention for me, certainly. But when you sort of,
It's kind of warranted at this point. I mean,
yeah,
and this is going to lead into my next question. Once again, I was super excited for CitizenCon, and then the letter from the chairman came out, a couple months after that, and I was like, woo, we're going places. And here we are, August, and I keep telling like my viewers and other people that I talk to, look at what we got out of CitizenCon and the letter from the chairman. We got two things, and I argue that we only really got one of those two things. We got persistent entity streaming and we got salvage. And the reason why I argue we only got one is, in my opinion, PES still isn't working the way they intended to be working. So we got salvage out of that. And that's kind of why I was like a lot of my criticism started really coming out was probably in the last couple of months. But I'll ask both of you guys this same question. Do you think at this CitizenCon, I get this will be like a three-part question. Will we get Squadron 42? And do you think they'll oversell and underdeliver yet again coming out of this CitizenCon? Whoever wants to take this first, I don't care. Either one of you guys.
go on, Carl.
I'll give you the very blunt answer: no and yes.
No. Yes. Okay. Okay. How about you, Star?
Will they deliver Squadron 42?
Will we get any more information on Squadron 42? And then are they gonna undersell?
I don't care about Squadron 42.
Fair enough.
I wish they would just get rid of it and focus on what everybody pays their money to have, which is Star Citizen. It's great to have a single player campaign, but my God, that's not what we all pay our money for. We all want Star Citizen, don't we? That's why people buy the ships. I just genuinely don't care about S42, and to be honest, they're going to underdeliver it anyway. So, I'm so negative when it comes to that. I really am, but it's got that's how I feel about it. I think it's terrible. Honestly.
See, I was told that this happened years ago, that there was a poll within the early backers, like, do they want the focus to be on Squadron 42 or PU? And they answered with Squadron 42. But there's not that many early backers still playing the game.
Mm-mm.
So the majority of players now who want the multiplayer, because single player is everywhere, multiplayer is kind of like the thing right now. So we're getting a game that most people don't even want, but people are still going to buy it. It's like FIFA or Madden. And they're kind of banking on that. And I think they should just do another poll, ask us all, like, what do we actually want? Because I've heard that it's 80 to 90% of development staff that are working on Squadron, which is why PU is getting neglected. And PU is getting neglected. It's to the point where it's just turning people away, and CIG need to realize that the PU is where they're getting their money from. If we didn't have a PU, they wouldn't have raised so much money, because people are buying ships that they want to fly around in the PU, not Squadron, because you're told what ship you're going to be flying in Squadron. We want the freedom. We don't want, yes, a narrative that's kind of linear would be nice, though I don't really like linear games. It'd be nice, but PU, that's where they're making the money, that's what they should focus on, and then work on Squadron. It should be the other way around of what they're doing it now.
I have this opinion that I don't think Squadron's going to do very well outside of the Star Citizen community. I could be totally wrong on that, but I don't think it's going to do very well outside of the Star Citizen community. It's not a big franchise like Star Wars or Star Trek, where you can just drop a single player game off and people are just going to buy it up because of what the title is. I would love to be wrong on that, but I don't think I'm going to be. And I don't think a lot of people are going to enjoy. Look, Wing Commander, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, all of those games came out in the mid 90s through the early 2000s. Players have evolved as well as the internet has evolved. I don't think people are going to want to play I mean, you don't fly around on rails in those games, but they're not going to want a railed story where you're constantly going forward in a straight line. The story is going to happen as you progress through the missions, and most of the story is going to happen in cutscenes between those missions. I just don't think that people are going to want to play a game like that. We've been too, even when it comes to single player games, we've been too spoiled with games like Ghost of Tsushima, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2.
I was going to say Red Dead.
And the list, Grand Theft Auto, and the list goes on with games that have, multiple consequences or whatever for your choices, multiple endings, different ways of doing things. I don't think people are going to want to play a game where it's straight line. Do this mission, complete mission, get a cutscene, go to the next mission. I don't see it.
Well, to add to the Red Dead comment, look at how they handled the online.
Yeah.
That's killed the game now.
Yeah.
You still get a few people playing the single player, but like single player's got a limited lifespan. Multiplayer, a lot longer. You know, and they need to kind of do a little bit more market research. As good as the marketing team at CIG are, they do need to do a little bit more research.
I can agree with that. So here's a kind of Star already kind of answered the question, but Carl, is it you guys? Carl, Star, do you guys pledge ships anymore?
I'm concierge. I've got the ships that I kind of want at the moment. Although, like, the only other ship that I'd want is the normal Kraken. But I'm being principled there, where it's like once the game is in full release and there's no more wipes, that's when I'll start earning the money to buy one. I'm not going to pledge for a Kraken unless I bought like a pack, because I do like the Drake ships, but I wouldn't do the F5 war to get a Kraken. I'd rather just wait till Alpha on my deathbed, not Alpha, full release on my deathbed, and just grind away for a Kraken, and then use that to kind of like a bit of a mobile platform for the low flying.
How about you, Star? Probably not, huh?
No, for me, it's very simple. What do I enjoy the most? Rock mining. Therefore, I've pledged the Grey Cat Rock, which is so I can get started straight away. I don't have to go to Lawville and grab it when there's a wipe, which is every other week. And then, which is another issue, by the way. I think we've had 4 wipes in 4 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Freelancer Max as a pledge only because I haven't yet got to the Valk. The Valk is the only ship I'll consider pledging for going forward. And that's it. That's all I've got, and that's all I need. Everything else I'll just grind. I'm a firm believer in like earning your ships in game, And I refuse now. I mean, I am. The only thing I will say is that I am a subscriber. So I get all these random, ridiculous flare items every now and then. But I'm considering not being a subscriber going forward anyway. So, yeah. Because I mean, there's only so many fish tanks that I can have in my inventory that I can't do anything with. Like, I've literally got a tropical fish tank, and I have no idea what I can do with it. And it's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
See, the subs for me, I'll only sub if it's for PTU access, in which case I'll kind of then be primarily playing on PTU, fly around to see how it's going to go forward, see how it's going to be going forward. But again, the rewards, they're terrible. If the rewards are really good that month, I'll do it. But other than that, I don't really bother.
But isn't PTU Wave 1 your reward, Carl? I mean, come on.
Oh, I did say the PTU. So
I'm being sarcastic for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just being sarcastic for everybody.
Oh,
Let's.
I'm British. I should have picked up on that.
yeah, that's our thing.
So, Carl, and we'll get to Starfield too, or Starstreams as well. But how do you? Let me know how you guys really feel about Starfield. Like, are you guys hyped for it? Are you guys gonna play it? Are you gonna make content for it? Well, like, what's going on with the Starfield?
So I get paid tonight, and I'll be pre-ordering it. I want to see if I can make some videos out of it, because I've heard contrasting things about whether or not you can fly around on planets. So I'd like to see for myself. But I have hundreds of hours in Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. I'm very big on those types of games. There was a period in my life where all I could do was play single-player games, so I put a lot of time into those. So I'm pretty excited about it, but I'm also not massive on single-player games anymore because I kind of burnt myself out. But I'll 100% be pre-ordering it tonight with the early access because I'm a bit of an idiot, but oh well.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm 100% in with Starfield. I'm going to be definitely covering it. I'm definitely going to play it to death. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be overhyped, but I think it'll still be good. It'll be different. We can't compare it with Star Citizen because Star Citizen it is not. But I think if you look at it on its own, I think it's a brilliant title to come in and drop into the space genre. And let's hope that it gives CIG a good kick up the backside, because that's what I really want from it. I think, maybe it will refocus the people. I think they've become quite lazy. Maybe CIG will focus on, a little bit more. We'll start getting more content out for us. We deserve it. We absolutely deserve it for being loyal to the game. And hopefully Starfield is the catalyst. So even if Starfield flops and is a bit of a disaster and does a No Man's Sky initially, which by the way is now a good game, but even if it initially comes out and flops, then it doesn't matter. Hopefully it will kick CIG hard and firm, and we can get something good out of that, because right now I can't be too excited. But also don't write off other games that are also out there, like Spaceborne 2, which is a really impressive title for a single developer. If you haven't checked out Spaceborne 2, go and check it out, because it is what Star Citizen promises to be, albeit very rough. but it's interesting. It's a good game. And also Sins of a Solar Empire 2. Don't rule that one out either. So there's other good options, not just Starfield. It's worth remembering.
I've been playing. I played it on stream once, but I've been playing it a good bit off stream. It's a RTS/FPS game called Silica, and that's also
Silica.
Yeah, it's developed by a single guy. It's been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it, and the lighting that this guy has done is very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, there's some jank stuff in it here and there, but for the most part, it's been a very impressive RTS game.
I'm still waiting for somebody, and if there's anybody out there that makes games, I'm still waiting for a proper space mining game, like a proper space mining game that is chill and enjoyable and very grindy, and you can build your own space station and just
Space Engineers.
Kind of not. I don't know what it is with Space Engineers. I can't quite get into it, but
I played it one evening, so don't quote me or anything.
I don't know. I'm still waiting for that itch. There's nothing like Star Citizen's mining, really, that I've found so far. So if anyone's a game developer out there, look at Star Citizen's mining dynamics and see if you can recreate it, but develop it, because there's an opportunity there.
I think there's a lot of opportunities in Star Citizen where they're falling short, and another developer or indie game or whatever could see that, take it, and make it better. Will it be the same Star Citizen experience? No, but I think they could get some game loops in there that'd be really more done than what we have now. More done than we have now. So I find myself becoming more and more critical of Star Citizen and CIG's management. Star, most of the time you've been pretty positive about it. Today was the first time I've really heard anything negative. But how do you guys keep the positivity up to keep putting out content? Now, Star, I know it's been a little bit for you, but Carl, I'm seeing shorts and vids all the time from you.
So my main motivation right now is just getting better at low flying. So it's just pumping out the videos for that, kind of like show my progress. As we talked about it before, about having the crashes in. I like having the crashes in because then I can kind of, because I'll use my videos as a way to look back. You know how like a lot of streamers and YouTubers will recommend that you watch back your footage in first-person shooter games. It's kind of like that for me. So like a lot of my videos that I come out with, I'll watch them way past the point where YouTube will stop counting the views because I'm analyzing my footage. So that's really my motivation, because like 99% of my time as Star Citizen is low flying. That's just all I've really got to enjoy in the game right now. So I would like to see some more content in terms of like gameplay loops and stuff so I can try them out, because I'm pretty sure I've tried every single gameplay loop, which isn't many. But so I'll just make up my own gameplay loop. So
yeah, we've kind of, I'm not going to say it's just me on this channel. I have a lot of people that support me and that I talk to. You know, Marcus Wynn, Canop, Pagan, you know, JT, Skeet. The list goes on and on and on. And the fact that we came up with Deadly Dodgeball a couple of weekends ago, and that's how we're playing the game. I mean, it's a good thing because it gives you the freedom to do that. But at the same time, when you're all scratching your head going, what are we doing this weekend? You know what? Let's go collect a bunch of basketballs from Benny Hedge and throw them at each other. I mean, it evolved into something else than that, but still, I mean, it's cool that you can do that, but at the same time, it's like, why do we have to do stuff like this? To entertain ourselves anyways. Star, about the positivity thing, I see, like I said, I saw you kind of go, like, it's been a little bit more on the negative side today. How have you kept
it's probably surprised you. I mean, since, I'd say the last kind of month I've turned, but I've always been loyal to Star Citizen. I've always backed it up, but you know, even you can't, it's inexcusable, some of the things that have happened in the last kind of 3 months. And like I say, for me, the way I've entertained myself is I've done my own game loops as well. So we do things like sort of 890 Jump Murder Mysteries. And I did a lot of role play with various characters and stuff like that to try and keep myself entertained. Which means, you know, when you start having to do your own stuff, you know that the game is weak and it's not got the levels that you'd hope for. I think initially I was hoping, okay, they're going to, you know, give it time. You know, maybe they'll bring some more stuff out. They're talking about making these changes for like salvage, and I thought that could be quite interesting. It's just not happened, and I think it's happened now for me one too many times, to the point where I'm like, you know what, there's other games out there, and I know I've built my channel around Star Citizen, but I'm now at the mindset that I'll continue to do Star Citizen, but I'm not going to support the game 100%. So I'll play games that I am interested in, so that I don't completely lose my mind, because this game is just not giving me enough at this point to entertain me. So, you know, do new things. And I'm fortunate, I'm not alone in that. I know a lot of the content creators are doing new things. And I see it going that way as well, and continuing to go that way until they can do a U-turn. And, you know, it's just the way of the world. Just the way of the world. I've been enjoying DayZ recently. I've been really enjoying DayZ, and I've been playing Parlia with my daughter.
A little late, Star. A little late. We tried to get you with the Grumpy.
Well, I bought the game when it first came out, and then, like everybody else, I went into the DayZ, got beaten up quite aggressively, like several times over, and deinstalled it, because that's DayZ, the massive learning curve. But it's only now that I've kind of got back into it and I appreciate what it actually is. And yeah, it has a lot. You know, I don't want to talk too much about DayZ because that's going a bit off topic. But I think I haven't enjoyed Star Citizen as much as I've enjoyed DayZ in quite a while. And the only thing that keeps me going back to Star Citizen is the rock mining, because I find it incredibly chill. I really love it. I love it. I still love it. If they screwed up the rock mining, then there's nothing for me to go back to on Star Citizen. And I'd rather, from a content creator's perspective, I'd rather take the sacrifice and the hit of losing subs or losing views, but do things that I kind of feel that I want to enjoy doing, rather than chase Star Citizen and pray and hope that they turn it around and it becomes this massive, you know, all-seeing eye, which, let's be honest, I now don't believe that they are able to do. So, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I started. Sorry, I'm rambling now. I started looking at the Scam Citizen Reddit channel and reading what people have said. And it makes more sense to me now than it's ever had before. I thought these people were like just a bit moody or whatever. But what they say, I think, genuinely has some legs, I think, and you can't ignore it. But I really want it to work, though. I want Star Citizen to work. I want it to be good.
I do.
So I don't
as
want
well.
to beat it up too much. Yeah. You know.
We'll I'll ask you this, and then we'll loop to Carl on this question as well. I'm skipping a few to get to this, but I think you brought up a couple of really good points. We all know the drama that's been going on this past summer. 318 is one. 319 was another one. Then the Foundation Festival with some of the stuff that they were putting in the pledge store and directing it at new players. And now the most recent thing is the PTU waves. Do you think, Star, that was one of the things that kind of got you to be a little bit more on the negative side or the critical side of Star Citizen?
Yes, I think, yeah. Ultimately, you've got to remember it's a business and they've got to raise money to fund a game. But you've got to deliver content. They've got to deliver something and not focus 100% or 85% on something that I don't really care about, which is Squadron 42. And I know people do care about it, but personally I don't. And Arena Commander, all of these changes. I mean, you may as well just turn off Star Marine, right? Because it's just basically Quake Arena. And just with Star Citizen graphics. So Star Marine, what the hell is that? And Arena Commander, I appreciate, has a little bit more substance, but again, I don't use it. Squadron 42, I don't care about. And so, if you take those three things out, what are they providing? I mean, I look at the 3.20 patch, and I can't get excited about any of that stuff. I just can't. And everyone's saying, in my community, they were saying, well, you know, when 320 drops, I'll go back, I'll dip in. But everybody says the same thing, you know, oh, I haven't played Star Citizen for weeks. Every single person I talk to, they haven't played Star Citizen for weeks. And I'll give you an example of why that's a problem for me, because a lot of my roleplay stuff that I do, I need people in the game so I can bounce off them. You know, everything is not staged, it's real. I talk to real players. And I can sit for hours at Microtech and not see a single player now. So how can I produce that kind of content? I can't. And so I go and produce something elsewhere because, you know, Star Citizen is not ticking that box for me to be able to do what I need to do. So, you know, it's sad. It's sad. I think they're screwing up a little bit. I want to kind of just shake them, CIG, and go, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And then they follow it up with like this, the decision to change the waves and the prices on the waves was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I think it's almost near suicide, quite honestly. And, you know, I don't know how they can justify it, but hey, there's got to be some logic behind their madness, right? Has to be. Something I don't know.
One hopes.
Yeah. There's been some meetings behind the scenes. they've come up with these decisions. There's a reason behind it. Who knows what the motivation is? Because they don't communicate it very well, they just throw these things at us, and we're like, "What the hell was that? What is that?" And we've had too many of those moments in the last, I'd say, the last probably year. Too many of those moments, and what you do is you erode the faith that a lot of these people put in this project. You know, you're almost just eroding that that faith and that trust, and then you'll get to the point where even what we call the whales will start going, okay, and then you got the big problems when they start pulling out. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? What are they?
It hurts.
Doing?
It hurts. I mean, it hurts when they do things like this, because I don't know about you guys, but I know that this could be a great game. And I hate using this word. It's got all the potential in the world to be a great game, and then it seems like every once in a while they're like, you know what, we know we're going to be great. We'll take this L real quick to collect a little bit more money, and that's a lot of the times that's what it feels like to me. Carl, do you feel the same way about the PTU stuff?
So I think their marketing team are geniuses. The way that they're able to keep the conversation around Star Citizen, no matter if it's low or high, we're always engaged. And I think they kind of rely on it at this point, because whether or not we're playing the game, we're talking about it, we're complaining about it, we're amping it up when there's a good period. And I would actually do agree with not only their take but other people's takes, is that they're the best marketing team that we've got in gaming right now. For a game to be this many years in development, and we're still making, well, some people's cases, still making videos and streaming it and stuff, and it's not just become like some dust in the wind. Right. You know, I think it's a very good job for them. But I can't actually remember the original question, but yeah. I've had too many concussions, sorry.
It's from crashing your ship
into
Daymar.
Traumatized by CIG.
That too, yeah.
I honestly, you only have to look at the biggest question mark for me is Chris Roberts himself. Right? He started a project called Freelancer in 2003. He wanted, with Digital Anvil, I think, was his software house.
Yeah.
And he had full reins of that project, right? The publisher was Microsoft. He was very wishy-washy, Chris Roberts. Microsoft got very panicky about it. They intercepted and says, you need to release this game now, right? Not enough of this craziness, right? So they released Freelancer. And Chris Roberts was furious about it, absolutely furious, right? So his passion project became Star Citizen after Wing Commander. But Wing Commander was more under control. Freelancer, he had free reign, a bit like Star Citizen. Now he's got free reign again. History is repeating itself. Only there's no publisher this time to say, no, stop. So there's no real focus as to where because I get the feeling that if you're in the CIG office, I get the feeling that he's interfering a lot with decisions even now, and I feel like they could spend like a month developing something. He comes into the office and goes, I don't like it, change it, and they'll end up spending another month changing it. I feel like that's the kind of guy. He's kind of like a creative movie directing, visionary, but that's not what we need on Star Citizen that's driving it. We need people that are focused, analytical, and can drive things forward. I don't think he's the right man. He needs to take a step back and not influence. Yeah, it can be his passion project for sure, whatever. But I think the wrong people are driving this project, and that's the issue now as well. I still think he has a massive influence on what's happening.
I think part of the problem is, sorry if you were continuing,
no,
still speaking. I think there's two components to that. And one example would be, look at the last two Star Citizen lives. They built a mission in a couple of hours. I don't know if they finished it because I don't watch those. And the other one is the staff are doing such a great job they're getting headhunted by other companies and being offered more money, so they're leaving. So there's a massively high turnaround within the development, which is just adding to the problems. And I do agree, Chris is, because he's so fixated that on his passion project, I think he's kind of losing sight a little bit in some cases. And I think it should be more of like, at this point with how the game's going, it should be more of like an executive decision where they make decisions together rather than whatever Chris says goes. And like, yeah, you could argue that he's the CEO of the company, but you know, it's the point where, was it 12 years this game was announced? 12 years ago this game was announced, and we still haven't got a fully fledged project. Now, what I would prefer to see is for them to just complete all the gameplay loops, sort out the server stability, and then add on everything else as an update. Similar to how No Man's Sky did it. Just build the game up over time, but it's still playable for that time. Whereas at the moment, it's like, we can play it for a couple of months, and then we can't play it for a couple of months, and then we can play it again. And it's just this roundabout of emotions that we're all feeling and we're getting fed up with. And right now, it's obviously low, and I'm hearing from people that have been backing for a lot longer than me that this is the lowest we've ever had, or the lowest Star Citizen had. English Carl, for whatever, you know?
He's got no accountability. There's
No, he
nobody in the background saying, Chris, stop it. You need to do this now. The people that are behind him are the money makers, the people that have donated or put money into the project. You just keep them happy by saying, oh yeah, we're working on all these different things at some point. And the backers are us, essentially. And he can just keep us sweet with a new ship or whatever. But ultimately, are we pushing him to accountability? No, we're not. We're not really doing that. He needs to be more accountable, and he's not.
Sorry for interrupting. And when we do try to hold him accountable, there's only a couple of avenues to do that. There's Reddit, there's Spectrum, and there's content creation. We know they're not paying attention to many of us on YouTube. They're more Twitch based, right? Secondly,
we're invisible on YouTube.
Yeah, they don't look at Reddit at all. And then when you try to hold them accountable in Spectrum, they either ban you or time you out or suspend you from there. And even if you're right, you seem to get a lot of flack from the I want to be careful how I word this, but it seems like the echo chamber of believers in Spectrum.
You can say it. You can say he's a dictator, because ultimately he's a dictator. They silence any criticism. If it's on CIG, you get banned. You will get banned. If it's on YouTube, they don't care, because they'll pay a bunch of people to give good comments. We call them the Million Sub Club, and then they'll push the positives. But ultimately, then Twitch people are just playing the game, so that's fine. I just don't see where the criticism is, other than Reddit. I can't see where the criticism is heard and loud enough. I'm definitely I'm very negative today actually on this, but I think it's just, I think they need to start listening to people more. They need to communicate better. They need to be very, very transparent, because we're not talking about £1 million investment here. We're talking about 500 million plus over a 10-year period, which actually, I know they get hit over the head with this figure. And when you consider it, 10 years and 500 million, that's not completely out of the realm of game development. It's really not, but it is still high. And I think a lot of people have the issue that they're not heard. They're not heard. That's the issue.
I heard, speaking of costs and time, I heard Grand Theft Auto 6 is nearing 10 years of development, and I've heard it from multiple sources. $2 billion sunk into it.
Yeah.
And
that's modern game development on a AAA scale. That's the ballpark, isn't it? So this 500 million that we hit, we have to be careful with that, because it's not really. It's still within that scale. So it's not like completely unique.
Yeah. But 2 billion, I think that's the highest, or the most money put into development of a game ever. And if the release is anything like it was with GTA 5, that did $1 billion in 3 days. So it's not like they're going to lose their money.
They'll get their money back within a week. But I think when it comes to Star Citizen, I think we're a bit more than backers, especially concierge members. We're actually investors.
Investors, yeah.
Because if it wasn't for people putting money into the PU and buying new ships, their staff wouldn't even be able to feed their families at the end of the day. They'll be working as interns, you know, if they were going to do it as from purely Squadron 42. Okay, so we put 40 something pounds or however much it is in your currency into a single player game that we haven't had yet. That's not feeding anyone. It's just pennies when it comes to over 10 years. Like, they need to be listening to us more. And I know it sounds like we're just being Karens complaining, but it's gotten to like past the point of being sensible. Like, they need to listen to our criticisms and act accordingly. They need to shift devs away from Squadron 42. I know they won't, but as I said earlier, PU is where they're getting their money from. We're the ones playing PU.
The recent criticism that they gave the fan base, the player base, on, well, you know, these issues are happening in PU because we didn't have enough PTU testers. I mean, blaming the player base for the bugs because there wasn't enough people in PTU. I mean, that was outrageous. I think that's disgusting. I don't think they can blame the player base because they've got bugs. A lot of people went into the PTU. A lot of people don't have access to the PTU because they're not going to pay the money to get access to the PTU. Why should they? That's a personal choice. And so to say, well, not enough people put money in to get access to the PTU to then test is absolutely farcical. And that went a long way to alienating a lot of people within the player base. You know, if it was free to do the PTU, then I mean, I know it is after a certain point, but if they made it completely free from the very, very beginning, you would probably and give people a reason to do it, because, you know, why would people go in the PTU when they've got the PU? I don't know. I think blaming the player base was real low blow for me, and they need to look at themselves in the mirror for that comment that they came out with. That was disgusting. Quite honestly,
PTU always plays nicer than the PU as well, and I think with their criticism of it, that people will go in there just to see a little bit of content and then bug out again. I think they should at least offer some kinds of, like, maybe like a Dragonfly or something if you've played so many hours,
right,
and put in an issue council or upvoted on the issue council. You know, they're giving away armors and paint jobs for Foundation Festival when most people just cheese it anyway. No one's actually like doing it real. They just go in game for half an hour for each topic and get free stuff. Why can't they do that for PTU, but and give us some kind of reward for playing the PTU and actually having an impact on, you know, like, even just like I said, like upvoting a bug report so it gets to their, so they see it a bit quicker. Like, that'd be pretty nice. But no,
reward
that would make sense.
For helping them with the bugs.
Yeah.
Give players an incentive to do that, because at the moment there's no incentive, and you have to pay for it often to get on there early. So it's crazy.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with what both of you guys are saying. Very much so. I've once again, I think I said it before we started this. There's a lot of times I feel like CIG's pissing on my back and telling me it's rain.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, everybody feels that way. And by the way, numbers don't lie. Like, when you look at Google Trends and there's a graph going like that, that's because people, the player base, are doing the talking. They're making a very clear message. You know, we're not playing this game until you sort it out, because, you're treating us like Muppets, basically, and it's, you know, there's a reason why a lot of content creators are not creating content. There's a reason why a lot of players are not playing, because, well, 318 was a big reason, and blaming player base for not doing PTU hours, putting hours in, and people have got full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't put the hours in. Some people work like 12-hour days, come home, have a wife and kids, have to make food or whatever, and then go to sleep. And real life, you can't say to people, well, you're not putting the hours into PTU. It's like, well, it's a bit of a
I've just seen
move, isn't it?
I've just seen someone post in chat about the daily wipes being a turn off for many people. But like, they can push out a hotfix into PU without there being a wipe. So why can't they do it the same for PTU? Or even just fucking go to the extreme route and say, okay, the PTU or the PU is now the PTU, and obviously fewer wipes and stuff. So, because like, we're meant to be testing this game as we're going on. So like, just put it to Evocati in wave 1 and then push it out to everyone else a lot earlier. I think that would kind of go a long way for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, what's Evocati as well, by the way, because surely they can't be doing much testing on that. That's just satisfying the big buyers, isn't it, and the influential people. There's no testing involved in Evocati, because you have to do an NDA, an NDA anyway, so you can't report on it. So, what's the point?
You can't report on it, but I see all kinds of leaks coming out for Evocati a lot, and CIG isn't doing anything about it. So I don't.
They kind of like it though, don't they? We create the buzz for them. They don't even have to bother.
Right. I mean, marketing, as Carl said, maybe they have the best marketing team in the world, and then us players / backers, we get one little bit of leak and we go hog wild with it on all the social media platforms, and then you get a few content creators that make 15-minute videos out of it. So I don't know. Maybe CIG really is a lot smarter than we give them credit for, but sometimes it does not feel like it.
I think they're making so many mistakes.
I think
the fact we're having these conversations and other people have these conversations and people in chat are saying what they're saying, they're just disconnected.
We're gonna shift gears here real quick. It kind of goes along the same thing that we're talking about, but it's a little bit different. Is there any advice or anything that you can say about content creation for Star Citizen? And whoever wants to go first with that, whoever wants to go.
Well, I mean, it's such shallow gameplay that making it interesting is always difficult. I get most of my giggles through the bugs. The bugs are what make streaming the game funny to me. Like, you can be flying, then something random happens and you're floating through space or whatever, and it's funny. Like, I think they bring something, the bugs. You should embrace them. Also, I think when I'm rock mining, you've got the chill stream element. You can just relax, talk to the chat, and that's fine for me. What I struggle with is doing what I would call creative content, which is where you are role-playing a character or doing a story or something like that. Because of the 30Ks and stuff, it can take literally days and days and days to do a 15-minute video. And then you just think, well, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth it. So that's the challenge for me, is the lack of creativity that Star Citizen can give you. And I struggle with that a lot. I don't mind live streaming, but I like to do creative stuff as well. And I just can't seem to get that out of the game that much without really working for it. So yeah, that's my struggle with the content creation side of Star Citizen.
How about you, Carl? Any advice or I don't know, things that you enjoy or don't enjoy about content creating for Star Citizen?
I guess my advice would just be to kind of like use a bit of a metaphor. So like, content creation in Star Citizen is like going out for a bachelor's party. It's absolutely amazing at first, and then over time, because of the game state, that's when the hangover sets in. And then you'll get You know that moment when you feel like the hangover's kind of waning off, but then it's like, oh wait, no, I'm about to be sick, and that's what it's like with these low periods. So I guess just be prepared that like it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. You know, it's not like you can go into Call of Duty in a game of Warzone or something, record your gameplay, have a few good rounds, post it up. You know, like you can do that anytime you want. I mean, kind of low flying is a little bit like that. But then, like, eventually, like, you can't be doing the same thing, video in, video out. So you kind of have to mix it up a bit. And when the game's so shallow, it is kind of hard to get that creative inspiration and create something that potentially someone else hasn't done before. It also doesn't help with the fact that the game is so old now, really. So, like, a lot of the ideas have already been done, so it's just like the amount of research you got to do just to kind of see, like, is this original, or is it going to come across like I'm copying someone's ideas from like 5 years ago? So, yeah, it is tough. It is tough, but I don't even know what but really. It's rewarding when it works. It's like anything really. It's rewarding when it works, but like times like now where we've even got bigger creators saying the same things. Views are really difficult to get hold of right now.
Yes,
because
sir.
there's such little interest in the game. So it's just like I just got to keep doing what I'm doing and just hope that like maybe my videos get picked up in a couple of months, or you know. But then we're hearing about like using it, comparing like in my example, like the flight model is gonna be changing. So I'll get a bunch of comments saying, "Oh well, there's no point because the flight model is going to be changing in a couple of weeks, couple of days, couple of years." You know, like you just gotta run with it, do what you want in terms of like put your own spin on it, I guess.
I agree. I think if you're gonna, look, I haven't been doing this long, but if you're gonna make content for any game, you got to find a way to put your own spin on it, do your own thing, and I think the biggest thing is make sure you bring a really good energy to it, because people, you're trying to entertain people. Try to keep that in mind. What you think is entertaining, a lot of other people are going to think is entertaining. So try to be entertained by it. Bring a bit of entertainment. So I'm thinking we're going to end this here pretty soon. So I'd first, because there's a bit of a delay, first I'd like to ask chat if you have any questions for these two. Please put them up in chat now while I ask them the next question, and please make sure it's appropriate. I know how chat gets here, guys. I know how it gets here. Please make it appropriate. Please. I'm begging you guys, please. So are there, I'll ask this question of both of you, and we'll start with Star. Are there games that you're currently playing, or are there games coming out that, other than Starfield, because we've already been there, but are there any games that you're currently playing or coming out that you would like to be playing or make content for?
I'm currently running a 24/7 dedicated server for Freelancer, which is the original Star Citizen. So that's interesting. I'm playing Parlia with my daughter a lot. Phasmophobia seems to be a favorite in the community at the moment. Starfield, and I tried Metro Exodus the other day, which was pretty cool. So yeah, there's a few. Oh, and obviously DayZ. There's a few.
You seem to really be enjoying DayZ. You getting the hang of it now?
Oh yeah. I'm a pro now.
How about you, Carl? Any good games that you're looking forward to, or anything that you're looking forward to making content for?
Content, no, because I'm focusing on Star Citizen right now. If I'm playing a different game, it's generally something like Hearts of Iron 4 or one of those Paradox games that I'll just play just to kind of unwind and take my mind off the shit show that Star Citizen right now. Because I would love to go full bore into Star Citizen, but the game just doesn't really allow it. It's really unfortunate because it's got so much potential. There's so many opportunities where just funny stuff can randomly happen. And it is a bit annoying that the funniest things that have happened to me in game have been when I'm not recording. Like, I remember, I think it was the 318 PTU, and there was just this random guy in Area 18, and he was walking around with a Pico, and he was like, "Praise be the Pico," and we all just kind of joined in, and would have made a great video, but it just happened off the cuff and randomly, and you know, it's tough. It's tough with Star Citizen right now.
Marcus started it, but I think it was in 317.5, really, really deep. We were running around Area 18. There was 3 of us. It was Canop, Marcus, and I. We would surround people and get them pressed up against a wall so they couldn't leave, and we'd all be spamming on our VoIP. Accept Christ Roberts as your Lord and Savior, and all this crazy stuff. Marcus was saying stuff along the lines of, "We don't have 318 yet because you haven't accepted Christ Roberts as your Lord and Savior. You have to mine more salt for him." It was pretty funny. It's on video somewhere. So one of the questions from chat is from Jim Flag. If you could change one thing in Star Citizen, what would it be?
It's a very long list. It's quite hard to pick out one thing. I think it's just got to be the server stability.
Okay.
I know it's a bit of a shallow answer, but that's just what most people want right now.
It's an easy answer, but it's like the most important thing, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I would roll out a bloodstone gem that's incredibly rare to find. So you have that eureka moment. I think that lucky box moment. So if you're rock mining and you're pinging away or whatever, and you find the rare bloodstone that maybe you see every once in a while, and you see it, it's exciting. It brings a bit of adrenaline. I'd love to see that red bloodstone. Make it happen, CIG. It'll be awesome, honestly.
I said appropriate, Marcus. I can't ask that question. Here's one from SpaceBub. How do you guys think the 320 patch will be received by the community? I'll give you my opinions. Meh. That's mine. How about you guys?
I don't think it's going to make any difference unless there's technical aspects to it. Like Arena Commando. Okay, it's only the sweaty PvP lords that really play it. It'd be interesting to see like what they actually do with it, but most people are just going to play it for like an evening and then not pick it up again.
It is pointless to resist.
Honestly, what have we got? What the MISC Hull C? Okay, new missions, racetrack stuff. I mean, that might interest you, Carl. I don't care about that.
I will be doing a race on Saturday with XGR.
Cool.
So I'll be losing my racing virginity.
I don't know. There's nothing here that's. I mean, we can all celebrate. There doesn't appear to be a wipe coming on 320. So let's just treat that as a win.
There's not going to be a wipe, even though there was duping galore like last month or the month before.
Yeah. Well.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't know. Blackjack's got a good one.
Maybe there is. Maybe I'm misinformed. Maybe I'm fake news. Who knows? It won't be the first time I've been shocked.
I am not asking a rock miner about crack rocks. Okay, guys. Blackjack Bill had a pretty good one. What would you want out of the next patch most? Fixes or content?
Fixes.
Well, I mean, because we can make our own content. It's just the fixes. It's making it stable, like Carl says. We can work around that. The best times I've had on Star Citizen has been the improvised kind of silliness with friends. That's the best time I've had on Star Citizen. Yeah. So, and that's not a game. That's not something CIG have produced. That's something that we do it as players in the game. So, yeah, just bring the stability and we'll do the rest.
I agree with that. I've always had the best times with improvised gameplay
pointless
with
to
friends.
resist.
It's the laughs, the good times. It's unlike. That's the one thing I will say about Star Citizen is when you can get all your friends together and it doesn't take an hour and a half and you guys find something funny to do, or I don't know, sometimes just a good conversation between everybody. I enjoy those far more those moments far more than just running 35 bunkers in a 2-hour game session. Yes,
Yeah.
dodgeball with grenades was funny. That was a good time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We played dodgeball, and the desync was so bad on Hurston that we kind of gave up. And Spacebub brought an 890 jump, and we jumped in there. And you know where the basketball court is?
Yeah.
We were running around throwing dodgeballs and grenades at each other. It was pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Does anybody else got any other questions real quick? I know there's like a 30-second delay, even though I don't ever set it up for that. YouTube's just awesome for that though. Any last
Mr. E
questions?
asked me one earlier.
Oh, what did he ask you?
Yes, I am the leader of Griefernet.
Yeah, I knew that would come up.
Yeah.
And Medrunner.
And
I'm
Medrunner.
Medrunner, yeah. I'm also Chris Roberts in disguise and the voice changer. That's why you can't see my face right now.
You know what? I can't wait for Colin to come back. Colin made me laugh, especially the last one you did where he went like zooming into the back of the raft or whatever it was that you had him in. That was funny. That was hilarious.
I need to do more of these role play stuff, but they're not genuinely that well received. Like if I spend like so much time on them and they don't do very well. So like then you just think, okay, maybe I should just do some ship reviews or something instead.
I did a couple and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. This feels too cheap. Everybody does them. They get like 10,000 views in like a couple of weeks, and I don't know. It feels cheap to me. It does.
Yeah.
It does. I'd rather make funny things and make people laugh. Get copyright claimed.
Exactly.
Get copyright claimed a bunch of times. Do you guys have any parting words before you guys go?
All hail Christ Roberts.
I do have one question for Star. What's your favorite place to rock mine? Because it better not be Daymar.
Magda.
Good answer. I don't want to have to kill you.
Yeah, definitely Magda.
Magda's so pretty to mine on. I wish there was more locations there to visit, like more points of interest. Not necessarily quantum markers, but more places to visit. I mean, there's like a couple of sand caves, there's like one sand cave, one other cave outside of that, and then you got your point of interest, and that's it, I think.
Well, I first found the Janelite at Magda in one of the caves as well, so it's a good mining location for me.
Oh, we do got another question. Pagan wants to know if the animated boxes behind you are Arduino. I'm not sure.
No, they're Pixaroo.
Pixaroo?
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, make sure you go and check out Starstreams. He's on YouTube. Make sure you go to YouTube/Starstreams and check out Carl as well. He's got great low flying stuff. And if you want to poke some fun at Medrunners, he's got some good videos on there that definitely give you a laugh.
Who?
Carl.
Never heard of this Medrunner.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Actually, I think you'll find it's Medrunners. No, is it Medrunners or Medrunner?
It's Medrunners.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Carl, stirring the pot. Stir the pot.
Well, I have my own story with them, but I'm not gonna release that story. But it wasn't the most positive. Let's just put it that way.
I've had 2 interactions with them. My stream knows all about it. They were not. I was not the client. But they scuffed it up pretty bad.
You weren't good enough for Medrunners.
Oh, I'll tell you off stream here in a moment.
Okay, yeah,
I'll tell you.
Do that.
But make sure you go and check out Star. Make sure you check out Carl. They're great guys. And if you're PvP oriented, check out Star's DayZ server. PvP is always fun. Anyways, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got PvE zones as well, so it's not all PvP.
Well, yeah, I should have.
When am I
that.
seeing you on there again? Are you coming in?
Oh yes. I'll be probably in there tomorrow morning. Honestly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got it all prepped up. I just need to hit the button to reload all the mods again.
We need to get Grumpy in as well.
We do. I'll start pestering him.
Yeah, pester him.
I will.
Tell him off.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure hit the like button, hit the sub button. Go on over to Star and Carl and do the same thing for them. They've been very gracious with their time today. And thank you very much, guys. And
thanks for the hosting. Appreciate it.
This was great fun.
Thank you. You're gonna make me turn a little red. I'm big fans of you guys, like really, really big fans. So it's hard to hold it in.
Likewise. Let's simp for each other.
This is getting too positive now. I don't like it.
We need some positive after all that negative.
Yeah, we do.
Let's bask in positivity.
All right, chat. I'll see you guys on the next one. And until then, so long and thanks for all the fish. I'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.